What is up, everybody? Welcome to Boomer Base. It's your man Logan here again, and with my esteemed guest Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
Yeah, I've conquered the channel now.
Man has conquered. Today we are back for something that holds a special place in Logan's heart, and that is
Boy,
the
does
It does. Your attic holds many Bionicle mysteries.
That's every single one ever made. Never.
We're here to look at the 3 Bionicle movies.
Yes, the 3. Emphasis on there's only 3.
The 3. Now, admittedly, before going into this, I knew of Bionicle. I'd watched Bionicle Mask of Light, and I think I watched Bionicle 2. I don't know. I really can't recall. I don't think I actually did, as it all seemed very new and things that I couldn't remember. I've definitely seen, and I don't know when I say a fair amount of Bionicle, I just had like a bunch of the toys and the weird things, the Rakshi, I think they were called.
Yeah.
I had those. I used to play with them in the bathtub a lot, and I enjoyed Bionicle. You know, I liked Lego. I liked Kinects. You know, I liked doing things with my hand as a kid.
ABS plastic made for surprisingly robust bath toys. I will say I also played with Bionicles in the bath.
Exactly. So going into this, watching this with someone that thoroughly enjoys the Bionicles was a very good experience. And then it was also good to watch films that I actually thought I had seen, and I don't think I have, or I just remember.
It actually turned out you did not.
Yeah, I don't. I either haven't watched them, or I don't remember anything at all. And I will say we ended up watching them on YouTube in sort of the time order. So we watched number 2, then 3, then Mask of Light. And it was very well edited, so it just continued one after the other. And I have to say, it's definitely the best way to watch them.
Yeah, that worked really well. I didn't even know that the real continuity order was 2, 3, 1 until we found that video.
That was such a good way to watch it, and I'm so happy that we watched it that way, because
I'd seen all of them multiple times in the past and didn't know they weave together that well until you watch them in a 3.5-hour span, one after the other.
It was really good, to be fair. Like, you know, it came out in 2003, 4, and 5, so, you know, the animation style does look a bit dated, but not in a terribly bad way. I mean,
not terribly dated. When I first pitched this to you way back when, and then you've been hounding by ever since, I did say, well, I don't think the animation's that bad. And you were like, really? I think it's going to be terrible. It actually was okay for 2003.
Yeah, it was okay. Like, Web of Shadows definitely spun it up a bit, and I don't know if it's just because we were watching it on YouTube. I didn't fiddle around with any of the settings at all, so we could have just been watching it in a quality that wasn't the best that was available. I didn't check, so we'll never know. But I would definitely like for the 3 films to be released as one thing, although it'll never happen. That was definitely the preferred way to watch it, and I don't think I would have ever clocked on as a kid that they were out of order. I would have just assumed.
There was 2025 rumours that they were going to remake start making the Lego sets again. They're probably going to be as terrible as the second reboot they tried to do, but I mean, if they did an anniversary remastered version of those 3 films as one thing. Technology has come far enough.
It would be. If this video gets to 50 views, we will tackle the 4th film, The Legend Reborn, Bionicle number 4. And if this video gets to 2 likes, we'll do it as well.
What? For reference, the dislikes counteract likes.
So, Logan, as a whole for these 3 films, as a trilogy, what do you think about them? How does it work? What are your thoughts? What are your dislikes?
If we had watched each one on a different day, with maybe some time in between, it'd probably been well more of a what the fuck experience, as we already touched on with them being back-to-back in that 3-hour, vid thing. I think just playing them all together as that one story did just make it better. Like, watching them in thirds would have literally just made 3 bad thirds, whereas watching them as one long thing made for one surprisingly okay whole.
Absolutely agree. Like, it was something nice to add to something that, well, I mean, it's kind of a dead franchise and things, but it was certainly nice to watch them back to back. and then see characters that we'd seen previously and how they fit into the story going forward. It certainly helped. I won't lie to you, when I speak about any of the characters in Bionicle, I can't really tell you any of their fucking names. All of that just went over my head.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Like, it was horrible to think about what the different names of people are and things. They all ended in like she or Qatar or something like that.
Yeah, they are very confusing names.
Was not a fan, but no. What we'll do now is we'll go into the first film, Bionicle: The Mask of Light, that came in 2003. So as the first Bionicle film, technically, it set the stage. It was a reasonably okay film. I think I preferred this origin story for the seventh Toa a lot more than Bionicle 2.
When you think about like the first Bionicle with Mask of Light, and it came out in 2003, I think the first Bionicle sets came out like 2001, 2002. So a lot of the people who collected them were probably like 5 years old. It's a surprisingly in-depth story for that kind of audience.
And I would like, from watching these three films now, I'd quite happily watch a updated TV show. Like, we know that there's a Netflix series that's very short, and we may touch base with that, but I don't know if it was set in the same sort of three world universe as these films, even better. Obviously it probably isn't, but I could definitely get behind a well done TV show, let's call it.
Something with post 2010 graphics.
Something that looks good, like, you know, because I remember seeing some of the Bionicle toy trailers, and I think they had some like animation in it, and that always looked good to my knowledge.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the names Tony Wedgewood somewhere, since that's the guy, I'm pretty sure, who did the narration for all the Bionicles. You know, the new from Bionicle, yeah.
New from Bionicle. I mean, I won't
if you'd have randomly just cut in that very small clip of the narrator going, new from Bionicle.
New from Bionicle.
With this film, I definitely... like, the villain was kind of cool. It didn't feel very fast that he kind of died. He put in some effort and some gumption, although he kind of just like fused and that was it.
You can respect it even more when he persisted through the second two movies. So it's
exactly, it made a lot more sense where he came from and things, which was nice.
The first movie was his end, not his like start, and that was a mind blower. It was good to see, and I like the Makuta pterodax. He looks cool. He's absolutely fucking honkingly big, so he went through some steroids in between the second. Yeah, I don't think they ever like actually say his name is Makuta pterodax. It's just his name on his like Lego box from 2003.
Man's got that Lego box at home ready to build.
You know it. It's in the loft, straight up with the model.
Like, overall, as a story, it was like fine. None of these Bionicle films are amazing. They are nice nostalgia trips for sure, and obviously suffer.
The stakes aren't very high, are they? Like in the first one, he lets the Rakshi go, and they kind of just show up and kind of just harass the Matoran, kind of dislodge a lot of stones out of walls, and then get frozen or something by the extremely overpowered white Toa.
He was fucking overpowered. Like, all the other Toa were just getting beat up left, right, and centre. None of the power scaling or powers made any sense in these three films. And one thing I did find quite annoying with all three films is that their endings are just very abrupt and quick.
Yeah, it kind of does just happen, doesn't it? It's like, oh, fucking all in a day's work, guys, sorted.
And I think that would have definitely hindered if we watched them separately. Is like, if we go in timeline chronological order, like the first, Bionicle 2 Legends of Metru Nui, you know, the sort of, we'll call it the origin story for our sort of franchise at this point. And then
it is, because it is technically the start, is the second one.
It goes through the sort of their origin, becoming Toa, left, right, and center. Then it just kind of, the Red Power Ranger fights the bad guy by himself, and then suddenly he's like, oh, how could you defeat me? And then suddenly the rest of them appear and they're like, well, he's beating you because he's not alone. And I'm just sat there like, he was alone for the entirety of that fight.
At no point in the movie did they experiment with combining their hands together to make one big power move to defeat the capital B baddie of the franchise, but they made it work when they needed it to.
Just did like a unity move, sealed him away, which is a trope I hate in fucking films to do with heroes and villains. Just bin the villain off. Literally just murder him. He is a bad guy. Bad guy. And then it just goes, you know, straight into the third movie, The Web of Shadows, where they basically have only had a very short amount of time as Toa, and they've got to deal with something else, find something else. That whole story happens, and then basically at the end of that they turn into the old people and basically pass on their wisdom, even though none of them have really garnered or gained much wisdom at all. They all still feel like prepubescent, like teen Toa at that point, which I didn't like.
Yeah, it happened quite quickly after their little like werewolf phase. And speaking of terrible tropes with the whole sealing him away, was the whole like, oh, the hardest part of the Toa's journey. They did it in all 3 films where they gave it to you as a montage of them going on their little fetch quests.
I know, just the bits that could have been cool, we just didn't get to see.
We really need these super rare Kanohi discs in the second one, and in about 3 minutes of like.
I know, they just find them all. They made it sound really hard to find
the rarest things in the world.
In it, they made it sound like they were crazy hard to find, and it was just like, oh, piece of candy, oh, piece of candy.
Piece of candy, yeah.
Just found really quickly. And I was like,
like, in the third one, oh, they need to travel thousands of miles, cool, they did it in a 3-minute time span of being carried by the rahaga.
I know, it was definitely not something that was very well thought out, but
I'm
again,
scared for the worst.
I don't know what the budget was for any of these films. I don't know if they were on like a very strict budget. I don't know if Lego interfered a lot or anything like that.
It probably wasn't a very high budget because Bionicle, as far as I know, actually wasn't a super high performing like Lego brand.
Which sucks. It is quite cool, and I think it would probably garner some love if it was rebooted, because we've seen with many different things when you bring back something, it's kind of loved a lot. You know,
I had to Google it when we watched the first one. I wanted to see how much the Makuta Pterodax like figure would be to like buy on eBay, and that man is dead ass worth half of his like retail price to just get pre-owned off eBay. And I really thought, damn, I've got every single Bionicle. I could probably make a piece back off these. No, man, I don't know why I thought they would like retro so hard, but they are not vintaged. It's just Lego, it's plastic. Sad.
Okay, the budget of Mask of Light was between $3.5 to $5 million.
Can you imagine spending that much money on a film like that? It's quite wild.
Well, the Lego Batman had an $80 million budget.
Yeah, but the new Lego movies look like they were actually stop motioned out of fucking Lego. Like that stuff looks like it was cutscene for like PlayStation 2. Oh, maybe the second and third one were actually more cutscene for PS3. But
isn't it like I can't believe like they just stopped Bionicle in like 2009, with the final thing being released in 2010 because of like low sales and lack.
Oh, Bionicle Stars! That was such a sad time. They like made a little mini version of some of like the favourite characters and stuff from Bionicle, and then just went out with a whisper, and I was like, oh, that's really sad.
Like you could.
And they came back in 2016, didn't they? For like a year.
I think so, maybe. I do feel like if they did like do a proper, it's anything like, you know, if I think of Beyblade, I think they might have done in some countries or things where they've just then re-released like the original Beyblades, and that's just been scooped up. Like I think if they did that with Bionicle, I don't think it would go down too horribly. Like,
problem with the recent Bionicle reboot was the fact that it wasn't Bionicle, it was just Hero Factory 2. The way they made Hero Factory characters, it just didn't work. Like, the building constructions for Bionicle were well more in-depth and used way more parts.
To be fair, I don't even know what Hero Factory is.
Yeah, you have to have a look at Hero Factory. I'm not watching it with you, but you can have a look. But, like, they just did this thing where, like, you got this, like, I mean, it might have been about like 8-piece skeleton, and then you could interchange like pieces of armor that had ball socket things on it, and it made for something about the size of a Bionicle with about a third of the pieces. It was just a real simple down cheapskate version of Bionicle, and it was terrible. I think that's why the reboot did terribly.
I can only imagine that would attribute to something like that, because I remember having
all the original Bionicles were like proper Lego Technic sets, whereas like these were their own new thing, and it was trash.
Like I do recall having, because we discussed about some of the ones that I did have. I think I definitely had a red, green, and black one, and I think if there was a one for the golden one, I think I did have that.
There was one for him, but it was a massive set that came with his little speeder bike that he just crashes into a wall after 2 minutes of riding it.
I remember having those, and then I had I think I had all the colours of the Rockshi.
Yeah.
As I was obsessed with their weird little like brain thing that was all squidgy.
Oh yeah, I for some reason was more interested in the worms that were in their back than like the actual full-size thing itself.
Maybe that's just like autism.
They did like a similar sort of villain line called the Barraki, which are apparently in lore are like completely indestructible and are an absolute menace, and they like fire these like rubbery synthetic masks out of their head to like take over Toa and Matoran, And I was more interested in the little masks inside their heads than like.
Yeah, I was literally about to say to you,
model.
I had like loads of these ones that like turned into little balls.
Yeah, bow rock, that's what they are.
Yeah,
And they have like, the little trigger on the back that makes them do like a pigeon move with their head.
Damn,
like,
I remember these. Oh, what was that?
I had 12 of them because they made 2 full seasons of those in all 6 colours.
I only had the original sort of colours, I think.
There was 6 that had like clear heads with like fire patterns on it, and then 6 that had like silver heads with like maps like sketched on them. This is more about the movies anymore. The models are better.
Right, Bionicle 1 Mask of Light, pretty okay.
Yeah.
Okay origin story for the 7th Toa. You know, probably had the 2nd best fighting, I'd say. Like, I liked all the fight scenes with the Toa to a degree, and then the end fight was kind of cool. And I definitely would place this as my... I want to say my 2nd favourite one out of the 3.
I can see that. This is also one that got its very own standalone video game that wasn't Bionicle Heroes. Also a very good game, by the way.
Now, it is weird, as like obviously I've seen the Mask of Light multiple times compared to the maybe one time of 2 and 3, but I don't know if I'll ever forget the character just going, takua! Takua! At the beginning.
Yeah,
just man
jaller.
starts saying that so many times. That's just stuck in my head now. Like I'll just
just shouting takua. Yeah,
Maddie's got annoyed at me sometimes. I've just randomly just in the kitchen just been like takua.
Yeah, we did it at home since we watched. Takua. Oh.
Where would you place this out of the 3?
I feel like if I have to give my actual like ranking, it should be done at the end of the video. But
okay.
I don't know. It's not the worst, but it's not. Yeah, so if it's not the worst, it's not the best out of 3. It has to be 2nd. I don't know why I'm overthinking that. Yeah, it's probably got to be 2nd.
Logan looks at a test. What's 2 add 2? Shit, how do I show my working out for this? Just sat with like those.
Fucking hell! I wasn't set up for this.
DEFCON 5 going. Yeah, no, yeah. I think it. I wonder if I think we might have the same opinion on the ranking. To be fair, as we now
we are going to agree on which one's last and which one's first, aren't we?
As we segue into Bionicle 2: The Legends of Metru Nui. Now I'll chop this straight away. This is my least favorite one.
Yeah.
I didn't like this one a lot. The Toa were kind of annoying, and all their powers that they got for the mask powers made no sense. We didn't see anything really to do with mask powers in the Bionicle Mask of Light, which felt odd, considering it was such an important part.
This was the only one that had mask powers.
It just felt very odd, and none of their like mask powers corresponded to any of their elements, really. Like
no, but also like none of their actual powers corresponded to elements. Like in the first one, like Tahu could command fire, and like the water one could throw water around. You didn't see them doing anything like that.
I know, that's what like. Honestly, I reckon if we had to rewatch these again, I reckon Mask of Light might end up being number 1. Just because each of the characters, or the Toas, felt like they matched their sort of elemental type, and neither of the other 2 following films did. It felt very odd.
Their colours were like assigned to their jobs, weren't it? So Vakama was the Tower of Fire, but actually he was a blacksmith.
Yeah.
And then, like, the white one was, like, the
scribe.
It wasn't really the Tower of Ice, but he was, like, a scryer, yeah.
And it just felt all very, like, odd, as their jobs just became randomly super redundant, and then they were just Toa. And then it was just, like, some of them had beef with each other because they were the different colour. And then just suddenly they, like, that beef disappeared, and they were just like, oh, we're brothers. Hi, brother. Fist bump.
Oh, yeah, like the brown one being a prick to everybody because they weren't builder ones.
And he had, like, the most OP power of just basically having that guy from Jujutsu Kaisen, just the speak power, just being able to just like command.
Stopped being a dickhead just before he got that power, or just around that time.
Yeah, I think he stopped it as he did his power, but none of the powers made sense. The fire guy got to turn invisible. The water lady got to speak to basically animals.
The air one could fly though.
He could.
Well, he could also shapeshift, which was
odd. But yeah, it was just.
But the stone one could turn into a flashlight.
Yep, the most useful power ever, just becomes a big glow bulb.
The white one could create a massive laser beam and then, like, telekinesis.
I don't think it was a laser beam. It was almost just like weird, like telekinesis powers, which was just
telekinesis that could bench press because it ripped a wall open.
It was very, very, very odd. And like we've mentioned, they had the weird like Unity power-up thing, and just the end fight scene felt weird. The big villain, pterodactyl.
It wasn't really a fight scene, was it? There was just annoying the two like dark hunters, and then kind of a fight scene against pterodactyls, except it was more him beating himself up with rocks.
Yeah, he didn't even They didn't even really use any of their melee weapons, which they did in Mask of Light, which shined. That looked really cool. Like, it felt like Bionicles were fighting and things. In this one, it was just like, we might use our odd powers maybe eventually, and we're basically just dodging. And it felt like really bad origin stories for characters. It didn't feel like they leveled up at all or became mature or anything like that.
It's really a shame we never got an origin story for the sixth tower in the first film.
Yeah, like, that would have been really cool.
We never got to see what Tahu was like as a matoran.
Oh, have the red guy go through the villain phase again was great.
It was just very unclear as to why there was only one, like, tower at the start of the second one. He was out giving them all their, like, tower rocks to become the next 6, but I had to Google it. 3 of them were just dead, one of them turned bad, and then another one just left. So Lee Khan was the only one left, and he went out, handed out all of his rocks, and then ascended to Old Man, like you do as a Bionicle.
Like, for the one that has the highest rating on IMDb, it's very odd that this feels like the worst one by, like, a large margin.
It was, like, the brightest, I think. It was just brightly coloured, and you could see what was going on. A lot of the first and third was just very dark.
I mean, this is true, and I suppose we got to see a bit more of the world. We got to see a bit more of the different, like, animals and species and things. I just think they were all kind of too short. Like, Mask of Light was like an hour, I think, like 20 or something.
But no, it was limited by their time. There was no justification for like a 2 and a bit hour Bionicle movie in 2003. Like,
this is true, but I reckon if it
around for like 2 years.
I reckon if it had maybe gone to the sort of 1 hour 30, 1 hour 45 mark for each film, that's a lot of content that could have been added in compared to the hour 10, hour 15 and hour 14 that the films were. Like, an extra 15 minutes could have filled in a lot, and it could have made it potentially much better. Now, I don't think any of the films suffer from any poor voice acting at all. Or to feel that number 2, although the best rated, just feels the worst by a large margin. It doesn't even feel comparable. It has a similar budget of about $5 million, which is, fine and things, but just loads of stuff. It just feels like things happen and they're basically just guided by an old tower throughout. So they're basically just babysat for the entire film.
They didn't know it was an old tower. They thought they were looking for a tower similar age to them, and when they found him, it was a gazer.
I know. And then they just have a piss poor end fight scene that doesn't really feel like a fight.
Don't forget, they do keep his mask, and we'll get on to that.
They keep his mask.
We'll that bit later on.
Because we did question why they kept that mask. We were like, why has he kept his mask after the old tower
and died? They keep his mask? And we even forgot that they kept the mask.
I know, like, the only thing, well, it's not obviously the only thing, but one of the more redeeming parts is this film just then does carry pretty much straight on from the last film, which is nice.
Yeah, if you watch them back to back with no credits or anything, like, they straight up, like, minutes later, the third one starts in terms of actual continuity.
Because I thought with the goth mummy Bionicle taking the weird shard, I thought that was like an end bit to number 2.
That was the start of the first one. Like, they literally zoom in on Makuta being stuck in the wall at the end of 2 and cut straight to her peeling a piece out of it at the start of 3. I was like, is this the end or the beginning? And then I had to go for a piss because I had no idea where we were at.
I know, I was just like, I liked how it flowed. That was a very positive thing, but it was just...
They went together so well.
It's just very abrupt, and it somehow felt less like Bionicle than the
pair
Mask of Light.
Together made like a really good 2-hour film.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree with that. But none of the Toa were likable. Like,
no,
the water one was fine, but the water one never seems to be terrible at all.
I think what made the difference is in the first one we follow the story of like matorans, like the little guys that can't defend themselves. So we kind of felt like the little guys that can't defend themselves. So when we got to see the Toa, we were like, oh god, these are like basically the universe's fucking demigods. And they were. You always looked up at them because the camera was always at like the height level of a matoran.
Damn, the camera
and they
angles.
did. They just looked big. They were like wading through lava. They were deadlifting caves up. I'm like, shit, these guys are diesel.
These guys are diesel.
Get the diesel counter on the bottom.
I will try my best.
What they do, the tower just looked big. They looked like powerful and imposing. But when we were supposed to follow them as the main characters in the second one, we were like, damn, these people just bicker. They're wimpy. It's if you made the two main characters of the first film into tower, because they are just matorans. They're tower for like 6 hours,
and I don't know if
they all still talk like the baby versions.
Like, I don't know if it's like in the Mask of Light where whatever his face becomes the seventh tower, but I don't know if it's just because of the power of that, but he just becomes straight like adult. You know, he doesn't feel like the prepubescent tower that we have in this film. He just goes straight into like.
When he was a matoran, he didn't even really strike me much as like that matoran mindset. He had like a very grown-up Bionicle mindset for a very small and underdeveloped like Bionicle form. I think that's why he was the chronicler, to be fair.
Maybe that all makes sense. Like the reason why he became.
Yeah, he's the only one that's got a red body and a blue mask, when everyone else is just red or blue or white, green.
Yeah, I did question that with you. I did say, why is this? But you were like, his mask is broken or something.
Like, why on earth is this man like? Yeah, I didn't actually know for full reason why he was like that, but
I knew it was odd. It felt odd, and it now feels a lot nicer having watched them in the reverse order to see like the tour we've had in 2 and 3 become the old geezers at the end. That was quite nice. Is there anything else you'd like to say about number 2?
It wasn't that it was like it's dead. It was just so completely. Just mid of an experience, I'd stare at it the way that a pigeon would stare at like a rock. That emotionless glare, like I've had more emotions swallowing paracetamol than I got from watching that movie.
But to segue nicely into the third and final film of this, we'll call wonderful trilogy.
It's not the third and final film though, is it? It's the third and second.
Of this trilogy at least, the Bionicle 3 Web of Shadows, in which I was very happy that they did actually say Web of Shadows very quickly into the film, because I always
they did, didn't they?
I do get a bit giddy
in the intro
when they say the title of the film. Is just nice. It's like whoa, they've said it. It's that sort of like Leonardo DiCaprio meme in the chair where he sits up and he's like, oh, I noticed this. That's cool. As it stands currently, I think is my favourite one. Although the more I keep talking about the Mask of Light compared to these films, the more I'm thinking that Mask of Light is randomly the best.
I know, I'm going to go into this original opinion of yes, the third one is the best one, but by the end of the video, I will have changed.
Like, because it was like on the title of the DVD box, it's Bionicle 3 Web of Shadows, the final battle for Metru Nui. Immediately afterwards, it's not the final battle.
It technically is the final battle for Metru Nui, because the first one didn't take place in Metru Nui.
See, these are the things that are confusing to me for Bionicle. But
yeah, they're not in Metru Nui. I think they're in Mata Nui in the first one.
Oh, it might be Mata Nui, to be fair. That does sound a bit more convincing. We get introduced into some new characters in this film, which is very cool. We get to be introduced into some more diesel big Bionicle, if we will call them.
We see some big ones, yeah.
We
like the big ones.
We like the big ones.
They have their own like title in the sets. They're called Titans.
Damn, that's fucking
cool. Their own range is called the Titans. So every time they made a new lot of Bionicles, you had 6 tower, 6 villains, and the Titans.
That's fucking cool. What I hate is that the DVD bot has the spider looming over. So I think I just thought going into this it was going to be a big like spider boss, like some evil race of like Bionicle monster that had kind of just been waiting and they got like released, and you know, thankfully the Toa are going to protect the world, and I had no idea these were the same Toa from the previous film going into it, so it was all very... The film in a way almost felt a bit like a letdown randomly. It suffered from a lot of fighting problems like the Legends of Metru Nui, the second one.
Again, how much violence can you encourage in children in 2005?
It's not necessarily violence, it's just they didn't really like they did some weird like Transformers turn into Dinobot like animal sort of things.
It was basically like some kind of lupus werewolf disease that turned Toa Metru into Toa Hordika.
And just they had some weird like go on all fours, have a weird badminton bat appear and just shoot out like a Genoshan energy beam, and they had all cool melee weapons and no one used them at all. Like the main guy had a fucking like flamethrower on his hand.
And that was the first time an elemental Toa of that group used an elemental weapon.
I don't even know what to say. Like
He couldn't turn invisible anymore, like he did conveniently at the end of 2. But
I know, like, and just this, like, it was cool to see the Visorak, the spiders.
yeah, Visorak
Like,
and the spiders.
they were definitely cool. It was nice to see the big giant Visorak at the end, although very
Gold
short.
one, yeah. Visorak Prime.
Sidorak was like a cool villain. He kind of looked a little bit like Lord Zed from Power Rangers in a kind of a weird way. And
He just wasn't the villain. He was gaslit into believing that he was the king.
Yeah, which wasn't nice. He did, like, in some ways, he felt, when you first met him, he felt like a lot like the villain from How to Train Your Dragon 3, although as the story went on, he was a bit more of a pussy and kind of shit, unlike the villain in How to Train Your Dragon 3, who's an absolute badass motherfucker. And then you had Wu Daka, the goth mummy Bionicle.
The absolute baddie.
The baddie. And
There'll be a picture of her pop up on the screen, both set form and from the film. My first ever childhood crush at the early age of 5. What a beast.
I mean, the TV show Lego Bionicle The Journey to One is 6 heroes, the Toa, fight against evil Makuta's forces, which are threatening the beautiful
I wonder which
island.
Makuta it's going to be. If it's pterodax, I'm going to cry, because there is literally so many of them, and we've had three films that have just had pterodax in it.
I don't know. It doesn't. Looking at the thingy, it doesn't say whether there is a pterodax at all. So it might not be.
Just Makuta.
But overall, the third film, I'm talking about it. I'm really trying to actually sound positive. Like the red Toa.
You're the highest rated one. I know you are going to switch light to the Mask of Light.
I think
what was funny about watching the third one with you was, like, we were a good, like, 70% of the way into the movie, and they'd done nothing but talk about finding this Kitongu, and they've said the name like 30 times, and on like the 31st time they said Kitongu, you were like, what's Kitongu? What are they looking? What the hell is a Kitongu?
I was just honestly a bit lost. Like, a lot of names were just being thrown around, and I was just lost a lot of the time, which I don't think helped with the Bionicle thing as a whole. I'm a bit of a stupid idiot when it comes to lots of things going on.
And they aren't very easy names.
No. And like, I liked how all the Toa looked in their weird, like, werewolf predator sort of state. Like, that they looked cool. I'd kind of weirdly prefer them to look like that just going forward, but they didn't.
You'd have liked their line of toys, and they were fucking cool.
Yeah, well, that would have been cool. But again, like, the end fight scene just ended very abruptly again. Like, they all did some weird Unity thing that wasn't really Unity, and then she just kind of died, and they basically said shoo to the spiders, and that was it.
And then the spiders did just leave peacefully.
Yeah,
they were also a victim of war.
And that just kind of felt like a big anticlimactic letdown. And then they
were enslaved.
We just then saw them save all the pods. Great. We got to see Takua and whatever his face is.
Takua and Jaller, which, by the way, Jaller breaks his mask, is crying about it, and then they pull out a mask that they got in the second film off the last old guy they fucking found dead. Yeah, they put Lee Khan's mask on Jaller, and then the first movie starts, and it goes in an infinite cycle.
And the Mask of Light, which is technically the third movie, starts with what do they say, Logan?
Oh yeah, the very first film in 2003. They say, like, we meet again. I'm like, they planned this in 2003. It's absolutely mental. But I think I've just sort of like cracked it in my head. Call me cringe, but like the Bionicle like thing, isn't it, is unity, duty, and destiny. So if you say unity is actually the second film, because that's when it starts continuity wise, they're starting to, they start out hating each other, don't they? And then they learn to like be a group. Mm-hmm. And then in the second, third one, they're fighting about, like, we're all going to turn into horrific monsters, but we have a job to do. Duty. Mm-hmm. And then we go back to where it all began with the words, we meet again. That's destiny.
Bionicle
that
set
nice
the standard.
That nice bit of silence then just really that was beautiful.
It just set the tone for going forward. Anyone to follow, they had to live up to these footsteps of planning films. Marvel took great note when trying to make the Avengers going forward with this type of...
They were stealing from Bionicle. I don't think they were. I think that's probably why 4 for me is so jarring. I know you haven't watched it, and we're probably going to end up doing that. But like, it's unity, duty, and destiny. There is no like fourth thing. So it is just this sort of addition to the franchise, and that's why I say there are 3 films and not 4.
But we do get 2 seasons of a TV show, which in theory makes your new 3. So I don't know. We might
just
get
what actually if this.
We'll never know.
Only if you give us 50 views and 2 likes that will go on to number 4 and stumble across.
On like the last point of 3, I've just remembered it now. They do that big fucking blast on our goth mommy bitch, and that red, the red fly dude shit. No, I know his name is Nori, but Rahaga Nori. He's like, you idiot, you've just released Makuta. And he's like, yeah, see the fuck if I care. And then like 5 minutes later, he turns into one of those old dudes, and then Makuta is just like the next lot of Toa's problem.
Yeah, I know. I thought that as well. I was like, the new Toa that we saw haven't even been born yet, and he's basically just been like, yeah, they can handle this.
It's literally Vakama's fault that 6 Rakshi absolutely wreak havoc in the first movie, and Tahu nearly fucking dies, and they need a 7th Toa to deal with it. They should have just killed him in the second one.
Well, they should have literally just killed him in the Legends of Metru Nui. They should have binned him off, and then they should have released him.
In Mask of Light.
And like, it just ended so abruptly, their time as Toa from Bionicle 2 and 3. It just felt very short. It basically felt to me like I'd randomly just watched Robert Downey Jr. as, you know, I see him become Iron Man, and then suddenly he's not Iron Man at the end of number 2.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like getting like half a season of Power Rangers where they're not Power Rangers for the other season. It felt very odd. Like they just suddenly became the old people. Just like they didn't pass their powers on to anyone else or do any of that. They just touched some balls and boom.
It was also interesting that like Makuta had like wings and that massive like Ganondorf hand from like Tears of the Kingdom in like the second movie when they're having that big fight on the Protodermis, and then in the fight in the first one they play hockey.
Yeah, I forgot about the fucking hockey.
1v1 in hockey.
The secret 7th Toa trying to defend mankind, and they're doing the weird hockey game that they showed us at the beginning of the film that was god awful. Oh, holy fuck.
And then they both fall into that pit and they come out as a combination of the two, but thank God that the combination of the two is a good guy and not a bad guy. That could have been dangerous.
That could have been our 4th film right there. We have forgot that we saw the crab in the third film?
Yeah, and they have the crab mount in the first one, and he appears in the third.
Just all linked.
Yeah, Pooku, it all links.
It all links.
Yeah, when I originally watched them as a youth, I wouldn't have watched them all like one after the other, or in any reasonable amount of time. Like, I've just watched one, and probably 2. I think I watched 3 like several times. Watched 1 and 2 like as an adult, as a conscious, thinking, sentient human being with real wrinkles in his brain. There's actually quite a lot of in-depth storytelling for something that has some terrible action scenes and not an awful lot of like fleshing out of detail.
I'm looking at some of the trivia for number 3, and there's alternate versions. The German alternate ending to The Web of Shadows cut like over 9 minutes and things.
Jesus Christ.
And like,
gotta learn German, rewatch it.
It's quite cool to see that there's like trivia for it, where like scenes were, like it says here that like a scene was cut out of the movie as the Toa were getting ready to sleep outside the Great Temple. Matao's animal side begins to take over it, and he instinctively tries to build a nest, but he doesn't understand why.
I feel like I've seen that happen. Is that only in the German version?
No, this was just a scene that was cut from the film.
Oh, actually, I think I might have seen that, because I owned the third one on DVD as a kid, so it might have been in deleted scenes, because that's not new information to me, but I feel like I have seen that.
And he talks about his
It might have just been in deleted scenes. Yeah, builds a nest, and I think the rest of them go up to him like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I ain't got a fucking clue what that was. I think it might be in deleted scenes on the actual official DVD.
Like, that's crazy to think there was, like, deleted scenes in Bionicle as a whole to me, just what we could have gotten. I know it's come to this, but I have to rechange my ranking and put it.
Our closing thoughts then isn't it, that it's the second one last, the third one second, and the first one first?
Yes, and if it wasn't for the cool fight scenes with the Rakshi in the Mask of Light and just the Toa as a whole, then yeah, probably Web of Shadows would be number 1. It is what it is. I can't wait for the 4th one to be my favourite one randomly.
God, if it is, I'm unsubscribing. You're not allowed wrong opinions on your YouTube channel. Well, honest, I can't wait to watch it and for some reason be really impressed.
I know, that's what I mean. That's like, I think it could be randomly, because what if it just has the things that have been missing from these films, where it is just more fluid fight scenes, and just...
Like, I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat, our main character for the 4th movie is straight up Bionicle God.
So it could be.
Like, the Bionicle himself.
Bionicle
is our main character. So
who does he fight? Who does God have to fight and nearly lose to?
Interestingly, he has to fight through
Makuta?
the fact that like the Matoran have practically given up on the need for Toa. So there's just a lot of discourse. It's kind of like Mad Max, but Bionicles, and our like Max is the god of Bionicles.
That does sound pretty cool, to be fair. I don't understand why
Yeah, no, I'm saying it out loud. I mean, they even have all the Mad Max vehicles. I remember owning most of them. There's like a fucking bike, a tank that turns into a scorpion. No, God, actually.
It all sounds good. Oh, Lord.
There's even like an Immortan Joe equivalent. Like, you know, the dude with like the gas mask in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Like, there's even him who runs his own little fucking desert raider bandit camp full of, like, cannibal psychopaths. Shit, could actually be good.
And, like, with the animation
they would have
potentially...
made a sequel, because that movie ends like there's going to be a second, and they never touch on it again. It does, it ends on a cliffhanger that's never addressed. I think they cover it in a comic.
Wait, was the toy line from this one the Bionicles that I remember with that?
The very last line, after the Legends Reborn, does have the red one at the front. Bionicle Stars is the last line of Bionicles they made, and they made their like most iconic characters, and each one came with a piece of golden armor or something. But the one at the front, the red one, he does get remade for that, but the other ones don't.
The Legend Reborn kind of does look kind of cracked, though. I won't lie to you.
We're going to end up watching that movie.
There seems to be like a lot of like characters, and they all look just kind of fucking
Diesel.
Yeah, because they don't have Toa anymore. They have what are called glatorian, which are basically just like champions of certain colours of matoran that basically just like fight battles as like gladiatorial slaves instead of as like protectors of matoran. Like all the little ones have genuinely captured all the big ones and just make them fight each other.
But
we're gonna have to do another ranking of the 4 then, aren't we, at the end of 4 if we do that.
And then with the TV show, we'll have to just rank all Bionicle.
We can't possibly rank 4 movies against 2 seasons of the TV show.
We'll call it its own thing. Obviously, the TV show will have had more time to explore things and things, but just overall, as a piece of Bionicle media, we'll definitely be able to like just. But no, overall, it was a real nice experience to re-experience Bionicle and to have some new things be experienced as well. It was a relatively cool trilogy to watch, and I like that through the way that we watched it. It just kind of flowed very, very neatly, and I do wish other trilogies...
We need to shout out that one guy's YouTube video, because it did contribute a lot to our experience. Shout him out, because it wouldn't have been possible without his, like, correct
the shadowed
timeline.
one with a 1 at the end. It's just the Bionicle trilogy in order. Thank you to that man for...
What a champion of the people.
He is
if he can comment on this video and give his ranking on... It's probably a bad time, but I am going to wet myself if we don't like wrap this up.
Oh, sorry. It was nice to watch them, or the trilogy, the way it was. I do wish other trilogies that I really enjoy, like Kung Fu Panda, the Transformer Michael Bay trilogy, How to Train Your Dragon. I do wish they flowed a lot nicer if you watch them back to back like this, but it is what it is. We have given our rankings of this film. It was a nice experience. Drop any comments below. If you've watched the Bionicles, what do you think of them? What's your favourite one? What's your least favourite one? Have you seen Bionicle 4 in the TV show? Let us know down in the comments. And as mentioned, if this video gets to 50 likes and 2 views, we will watch number 4 and you'll hear our thoughts and opinions.
50 likes and 2 views. I mean, knowing your YouTube, it probably could end up with 2 people watching it, but with 50 likes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to, hit that subscribe button. I know you do that anyway on your own sort of automatic thing. Do it anyway. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Bye-bye now.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. Click the button to keep watching, or click the other video for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.